glad you're here.
Nerd!
No. Can everybody hear me? Can you hear me in the back?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, I can't believe that you're standing up. That's I didn't expect this. Hi, I'm Wil Wheaton. And I just hope that you'll all be nice to me. Because I'm a pretty nice guy. I am an actor and an author, and I have +10 to making children cry. That's going to be loud. I'm recording this because I'm putting together my version of Frampton Comes Alive. And this might be on it. I wrote this book, and it's a new book, and it just recently came out, and it's called Sunken Treasure, and I like it a lot. It's a collection of stories from my collections of stories. So it's kind of a meta book, I guess. I brought it with me to the con, and I was super excited to read from it today. And then I sold every copy that I brought yesterday. It's kind of cool, but it also kind of sucks because I can't read you stories from it. However, I am doing, oh, and you have one. That's awesome. No, because I have a backup plan. I wrote another book, and it's called The Happiest Days of Our Lives. And some of you have heard of it, and that's cool. And I am doing a special expanded edition of The Happiest Days of Our Lives with a fantastic publishing company called Subterranean Press, and it will be coming out real soon now, as we like to say in publishing. And as it turns out, my copy editor lives right here in Seattle. So I saw her a couple of days ago, and she gave me the copy edits. So, I know, it's very exciting. So, I'm going to read some stories that if you've read my blog, you may have heard before. But I'm going to read you a couple of stories that are from the expanded edition of The Happiest Days of Our Lives. These are stories that, and look, I'm using pens for paper clips because I guess that's what you do here in Seattle. Yeah, it makes the pens and the supersonics, they make the same amount of sense. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. What was that? What? No, wait, what I meant was actually go Lakers. I'm sorry, that's what I meant. So, I am also from Los Angeles and good at pissing people off who are not from there. So, anyway, I'm going to read you a couple of stories from the expanded edition of The Happiest Days of Our Lives, and then, when I'm done, I understand that the panel that was scheduled after mine has been sent to the land of wind and ghosts. So we'll have a bit extra time than I thought we would have, and we can do a little Q&A, and it'll all be fun, and it'll be great. If you get bored with me and decide that you want to leave, that's totally cool. I kind of wanted to see the Marvel panel too. So the first story that I would like to read for you today is called When You Dressed Up Sharp and You Felt All Right. This started out as a one-paragraph intro to a rant about how much I didn't want MTV to remake the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And actually, as it turns out, they could give a shit what we think. Incidentally, this program has been rated M by the people who rate those sorts of things. So if that sort of thing is a problem for you, the Marvel panel is on down there. Anyway, after a few minutes in my text editor, it became a lot more fun just to tell this story. Oh, and this is the first time I've ever read this for anyone who's not in my family, so if you could lower your expectations. It's important to stay hydrated, kids. A few days after my 16th birthday, I lost my Rocky Horror virginity. I was in a shitty little duplex theater in Van Nuys, California. I'd wanted to see Rocky since I was 10 or 11, and my mom drove us past a marquee advertising a midnight showing every Saturday. My parents couldn't or wouldn't tell me what it was about. My memory is hazy on that specific detail. But anything that happened at midnight on a Saturday sounded great to me. The creepy lettering and the word horror in the title served only to increase my anticipation. I love every one of you who said the line. I'm gonna put you in my pocket and take you for a walk. A week or so after my birthday, my best friend Darren and I were at this place on Van Nuys Boulevard called Cafe 50s. These 1950s themed cafes were everywhere in the 80s. Some blame Stand By Me and Back to the Future for their popularity. But this particular one was my favorite. Though I'd never actually been to a diner in the 50s, this one felt the most authentic, which means that it copied what I'd seen in movies better than anywhere else, and it had Del Shannon's Runaway on the jukebox. Darren and I gorged ourselves on patty melts and chocolate shakes and vanilla cokes and extra fries, while we talked about the things that seemed important after you discovered girls, like how to actually, talk to one, which would instantly convince her to take an unforgettable trip with you to second base for 16 seconds of commitment-free passion. This is how we thought it worked back then. We argued about the time travel paradoxes in Back to the Future. We confirmed that quoting Monty Python to the 24-year-old waitress is not the best way to get a stand-up double when you're 16, or ever. And we admitted that Michael Keaton was a far better Batman than we'd been prepared to give him credit for. In other words, it was a Saturday night like any other. And as midnight and the restaurant's closing drew near, our attention turned toward that most important of teenage activities, doing anything but going home. Have you ever seen Rocky? Darren asked. God, I hate that stupid movie, I said. And the sequels are even worse. It's like, look, we know he's gonna win, so why waste our time with... I mean Rocky Horror. Oh, I said. No, but I've always wanted to. It's playing across the street at midnight. We should go. As quickly as I'd gotten excited to see it, I lost my nerve. Through that pre-Snopes grapevine that gave teens of my generation the truth about Mikey from Life cereal, oh my God, he totally died while eating Pop Rocks and drinking Coke. I'd heard tales of Rocky virgins being deflowered in horrifying ways. Oh my God, this guy I know went to see it in Santa Monica and they made him take off his clothes and they wrote virgin on his chest in lipstick. Don't they do horrible things to people who haven't seen it? I asked in my most nonchalant voice, grateful that it didn't obviously crack. Not really, he said. But if you're worried about it, we won't say anything. Okay, I said, my excitement returning. Darren was 2 years older than me and wise in the ways of the world. I knew I could count on him to keep my secret shame between us. The waitress came back to our table. Can I get you guys anything else? Before I could demand a shrubbery and a phone number with equal chances of getting either, Darren asked, could we get some slightly burnt white toast? The waitress and I gave him the same curious look. He smiled enigmatically. 20 minutes later, with burnt toast in my pocket and butterflies swarming in my stomach, I bought my ticket. We stood in a line that grew to about 24 people and waited for the theater to open. I made nervous small talk with Darren, talking a little too loudly about the great cast that I had seen, and I think I chose Huntington Beach. The doors opened a few minutes before midnight. We walked into a theater that, TARDIS-like, seemed bigger on the inside than it appeared on the outside. Dirty blue and orange curtains hung on the walls. 2 aisles separated 3 groups of squeaky blue seats. The floor was painted navy blue. Blue seemed to be a recurring motif in this particular theater, and it was appropriately sticky. We chose seats on an aisle near the back. I should have been freaked out when a guy sat down a few rows in front of us and lit a cigarette, in total violation of the theater's rules, but being rebel adjacent excited me. The theater quickly got as full as it was going to get. It seemed that most of the audience members knew each other, especially the four people who huddled together at the front under the screen. A dude with long black hair and bright red lipstick emerged from the group and spoke to the audience. I can't remember what he said, because as he began, a hand tapped me on the shoulder. I looked up and saw the most phenomenally beautiful girl in the world standing in the aisle. She had shiny black hair and a Betty Page cut, bright green eyes, full red lips. She wore a red corset, and it fit her perfectly. She bent over and asked, "Are you a virgin?" I was. I was a virgin in every way that mattered. And in that moment, I would have pushed my mother in front of a train on its way into a lake of fire if it meant that this girl would separate me from this affliction. Had I been standing, I would have fainted. What? She extended one hand and caressed my face. She repeated herself, more seductively than the first time. "Are you a virgin?" Yes! Her eyes flashed and she squeaked. She squeaked. This is gonna be fun. Before I could ask if this kind of fun came with the instruction manual I was certain I needed, she stood up abruptly and hollered, "I have a virgin!" "A virgin!" replied much of the audience. Before I knew what was happening, she stood me up, had me repeat some oath that I've long since forgotten, and spanked me. Not brutally, but not overtly gently either. I remained fully clothed, but by the time my deflowering was done, I was soaked through as everyone in the theater sprayed me with squirt guns and spray bottles. As quickly as it had started, it was over, and she disappeared before I could get her number, much less drop a Life of Brian quote on her. Like most people's, my deflowering was nothing like I had hoped for or expected, but it was still magical. I loved every second of it, and before I knew it, she had vanished into the dim light of the theater. While other regulars repeated similar rituals with a few other virgins in the audience, I looked at Darren. He looked back, mirroring my disbelief. "That was awesome!" I said. Not only had a girl practically showed me her boobs, she touched my face seductively and talked to me and spanked me and squirted me with a squirt gun. I was beside myself, and the movie hadn't even started yet. The lights went down and the show began. I didn't know any of the lines, but I quickly figured out what to yell at Brad and Janet. I threw my toast. I did the time warp-ish. I watched the girl who'd taken my rocky virginity play Magenta, which is probably why Magenta is still my favorite character in the whole show to this day, 20 years later. When it was over, we drove back to La Crescenta in my slightly better than Patrick Stewart's Honda Prelude. Some of you have heard that story. Blasting New Order the whole way with the moonroof open and the windows down. I dropped Darren off at his house. And though I got back home around 3, I was so loaded with caffeine, sugar, and adrenaline that I didn't fall asleep until the sun came up. The movie was campy, and not especially good, but that wasn't the point. It was a shared experience. It was a place for misfits of all stripes to gather once a week and fly our Transylvanian freak flags. For the next 2 years, Darren and I led an ever-growing group of our friends to Rocky at least once a month, sometimes more, at the Rialto Theater in South Pasadena. I haven't been since 91 or 92, but those years, and the film itself, hold a very special place in my memory. I'm sure the jokes have changed, and I'm sure I would feel like a stupid old man. But just once, I would like to go there at midnight, some Saturday, and do the time warp again. Thank you. This is a story about gaming. It is called Green Grass and High Tides Forever and Ever and Ever and Ever and... Oh, introduction to characters in this story. I have a really awesome family. And my kids are my stepkids. I didn't make them, but I have raised them for 13 years. And they are my boys in every way that matters. And I love them more than people who aren't parents are able to understand. So they're awesome. And Ryan is older, Nolan is younger. And Ryan is in this story, so now you know who Ryan is. Everybody point. I spent a lot of Ryan's first summer home from college bugging him to play the endless set list with me on Rock Band. The endless set list is usually the last thing you unlock in career mode. It is a concert featuring all 58 songs that come with the game. It takes about 6 hours to play straight through. Because we are rock gods, Ryan and I tackled it on expert. He played guitar and I played bass. We were awesome. We maxed out at 5 stars on pretty much every one of the first 20 or so songs, including 3 gold stars. I got the authentic strummer achievement for only using up strums and 99% on about half of them. Those of you who haven't played Rock Band and don't know what the hell I'm talking about, you can rest assured that we kicked 16 different kinds of ass. We were seriously having a good time. Striking the rock pose, putting our backs together while we jammed through epic songs, and bonding through the power of rock. And then, with 5 songs left to go, that would be 5 of 58 songs. That would be having played 53 songs. We got to Green Grass and High Tides. This is a fantastic Southern rock epic by the Outlaws. It is also one of the hardest songs in the game, and the longest, lasting around 10 minutes. You don't really play this song as much as you survive it. If it were possible for a song to kick you in the junk, I don't need to finish that sentence. So after playing for nearly 5 hours and not exactly conserving our energy, we began to play this epic, knowing it would be the greatest challenge we'd faced yet. Our first time through, we failed at 84%. It was entirely my fault. I held my guitar too high and deployed our emergency overdrive when we didn't need it. Sorry about that, I said, as we lost 360,000 fans. I blame my guitar. Ryan looked at me. Okay, I blame myself. Ryan laughed and said it was no big deal. He was confident that we'd get it on the next try. And when we started the song, I could see why. My kid was in the zone, man. He nailed 97% on the first solo. I wanted to holler about how awesome he was, but I felt like it would have been the same as talking to a pitcher in the middle of a no-hitter. So I stayed quiet and did my best not to screw things up. I screwed things up. We failed the song at 96%. We lost another 360,000 fans, almost wiping out the million we picked up during the Southern Rock Marathon the week before. Compared to the 5 hours we'd spent playing, that 18 minutes wasn't that long. It sure felt demoralizing. Especially because it was entirely my fault we'd failed twice. So there's this bass phrase in the song that is repeated over and over and over. And if you're just a tiny bit off, like I was, you're screwed, like I was. I dropped my hands to my side and let the guitar hang around my neck. My arms were tired, my legs hurt, my vision was getting blurry. The room appeared to rise around me. I think I've identified the weak link in our band, I said. It is me. It's okay, Ryan said, but I think I want to take a break. Good idea, I said. So let's pause this and go out for something to eat and then we'll come back later. Good plan, solid plan, it's a good plan, it's gonna work. Ryan walked into his room and turned on his shower. I unplugged my guitar so we didn't have to worry about our dogs knocking it down and restarting the game while we were gone. In my memory, the next few moments happen in slow motion. I pick up Ryan's wireless guitar controller. I hold down the button to get to the control screen. The dashboard comes up, giving me the option to cancel, turn off the controller, or turn off the system. I click the strum bar and select turn off the controller. I set the guitar onto the ground carefully. I reach up to click the green fret button. I hear the Xbox beep. I push the button. I realize that the beep was the strum bar clicking one more time. When I set the guitar down, selecting shut down the system. The system shuts down. For the next 120 seconds, I use every curse word I know. Many of them twice, until my throat is raw with rage. It takes everything I have not to grab the guitar and get Pete Townsend on it. As time returned its normal flow, Ryan came out of his room. What just happened? I told him. Ryan didn't freak out. He didn't even get upset. Instead, he told me, calm down, man. It's just a game. We can do it again. Despite his calm, sane words, I was really upset. Yes, it was an accident, but it was entirely my fault. There were several different ways I could have powered down his guitar that would have been more careful. I felt like an asshole because I screwed up twice in the game and caused us both to fail, both times. Because I screwed up and lost all the progress we've made. But mostly because I really wanted to get this particular Xbox achievement with my son. I really wanted that memory. What I got, though, was better than what I had hoped for. I watched Ryan exhibit one of the key values I'd raised him with. He kept everything in perspective and found the good things in the experience. The gold stars we scored, the fun we had playing all the other songs, and the time we had spent together. He reminded me that Rock Band is just like rooting for the Dodgers. It is not about winning. It is about playing the game. It felt great to hear my values, not my 120 seconds of swears, come out of my son's mouth. It isn't reflected in my Xbox Live account, but the 100 parenting achievement I picked up that day means more to me than anything I have in my gamer score. It occurs to me now that I forgot to tell those of you who are assembled here today that my performance today is released under Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike license. You are encouraged to record audio, video, photo, whatever you want to do. If you don't know what that means, go to creativecommons.org or find a nerd and ask them. If there's one thing we like to do, it's talk about stuff nobody else cares about. Thanks. Okay, so this is the last story that I'm going to read you. It's a short one. The three stories that I chose today were stories that I hoped would give a bit of insight into who I am and how I became who I am, and sort of what my relationship is with two of the three people who mean more to me than anything else in the world. I'm going to finish off with a story about my son Nolan. It's called Who's Gonna Drive You Home Tonight? Ann and I took Nolan out to Glendale for this art thing he likes to do. After we dropped him off, Ann put her arms around my waist, kissed my face, and said, I want to have a dinner date with my husband. Bonus, unexpected dinner dates are awesome. So I didn't even put up token resistance. And we had a wonderful meal together while Nolan did his thing a few blocks away. When we were finished, Nolan met us in the parking garage and told us that he wanted to drive home. At that point, he'd had his learning permit for about 5 weeks. And even though he was a very competent and careful driver, we were both a little nervous about exposing him to the Los Angeles freeways at night. You've never driven on the freeway at night, Ann said. Maybe we should just take side streets. But the freeway is much faster, and we have Family Guy on TiVo at home, Nolan said. We're concerned that you don't have a lot of nighttime freeway driving experience, my wife said, invoking the dreaded royal we. Nolan put his hand on my shoulder and quite seriously said, Will, how am I going to get that experience? If I don't drive on the freeway at night. I looked at my wife. He has a point. I sort of felt like the old man, the keys to my car turning into a Red Ryder carbine action range model air rifle with a compass in the stock and this thing that felt fine. Okay, just be careful, Ann said. I think I heard her add under her breath, just don't shoot your eye out. A few minutes later, as we drove down the freeway, I sat as quietly as I could, gently nudging Nolan with occasional driving reminders. He's really quite good, and I didn't have to point out too many things to him. But near one ramp, one of those spiffy milk carton-looking scions sped up and cut in front of us without bothering to use its turn indicator. You've got to watch for drivers like that, I said, and remember my fundamental rule of driving, which is... Nolan scrunched up his face like he was thinking, and he said, don't be a dick. That is my fundamental rule for life, I said. My fundamental rule for driving is, oh, everyone on the road is an idiot and they're actively trying to kill you. That's the one, I said. Got it. But, you know, you can use both. Okay, Will. I got it. If you need them, I added. I'm trying to drive here, Will. Sorry. The end. The expanded edition of The Happiest Days of Our Lives comes out shortly. The holdup has actually been me. I've been working on some other projects and I wasn't able to get my edits into Subterranean Press. You can pre-order it online if you want, and it should be available very soon. I'm real proud of it. I think it's just really neat and I'm excited for people to see it.